This is lesson 1, 5A. Remember to write that on the top of your notebook page and also write today's date. In this lesson, we're going to be dividing fractions by fractions, but today we are just going to be looking at models to help us solve the division problem. In tomorrow's lesson, we will be doing the keep, change, flip to solve the division problems, and moving forward, you will be doing keep, change, flip. But today I want us to look at the models. So we'll start by looking at example 1 here. Use an area model to divide fractions. Simon buys half a yard of material to make foot bags. Foot bags are just little like bean bags. They're hacky sacks. You might have heard of them as hacky sacks. So we have to find how many foot bags can Simon make. So if Simon uses 1/6 of a yard of material for each foot bag that he makes. So we will be doing 1/2 divided by 1/6. So write that into your notebook. 1/2 of a whole yard divided by 1/6, because he needs 1/6 of a yard for each foot bag or for each hacky sack. So in your notebook, I actually want us to sketch this little diagram here. So start by making your hole. This is 1 whole yard of fabric. Now divide that yard in half to represent our first fraction here. So we're going to have 1/2 of a yard. So I want you to divide your hole in half and shade half of it in. So your diagram in your notebook, and if I ask to see it tomorrow, I should see what I'm doing right here. So I should see this drawn into your notebook. So we have our 1/2. Now we're dividing it into sixths. That means that we're going to have our 1 whole here, right? This is a whole, and we have to break that up into 6 equal parts. So up top, let's do 1, 2, 3, and on the bottom part, another 4, 5, 6. So this is just a sketch. You might notice that my sixths aren't exactly equal, and that's okay because it's a sketch. But I know that they should be equal. So now I'm saying to myself, okay, how many 1/6 are in a half? Or I have 1/2 divided by 1/6 gives me how many parts? Well, let's count. 1/6, 2/6, 3/6 here. 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 of the 1/6 in one whole in 1/2. So my answer here is 3. He would be able to make 3 foot bags with his 1/2 a yard of fabric. Now I want us to just look at this on a number line. So also make a number line here. My number line is going to start at 0, go all the way to 1. Let's first mark a half. So 1/2 is right in between 0 and 1. Now we're going to divide our number line up into sixths. Well, you may know that 1/2 is equal to 3/6. So I'll have 1/6, 2/6, 3/6 where my 1/2 is, 4/6, 5/6, 6 out of 6 is 1 whole. So I can ask the same thing here. If I take 1/2, which is this whole part, and I divide it into sixths, how many do I have? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So that's again how I got my answer as 3. Now let's look at this other area model. Use another area model to divide fractions. How much of a 3/4 cup serving is in 2/3 a cup of yogurt? Find 2/3 divided by 3/4. So first they want us to show 2/3. So they shaded in 2 out of 3 parts of the whole. Remember, the whole would be this whole part here, moving all the way across. Okay, so that is one whole. So we're dividing our whole into 2/3. And they also they shaded in 3/4 of a whole. So we can see that 2/3 is less than 3/4. So now I'm going to rewrite these fractions. Well, first I'm going to rewrite our problem. 2/3 divided by 3/4. So let's take our fractions here. 2/3 and 3/4. Step 2 says to multiply the denominators to find the common units. So if we're multiplying the denominators, we're going to multiply 3 and 4. Well, what's 3 times 4? 3 times 4 is 12. So we're going to rewrite these two fractions with a denominator of 12. Now we have to write equivalent fractions here. 2/3 equals how many twelfths? Well, whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top, because to keep equivalent means equal. So in order to keep our fractions equal, we have to multiply the bottom and the top by the same number. So 3 times what is 12? 3 times 4 is 12. Whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So 2 times 4 is 8. Same thing for 3/4. Okay, so how do we go from 4 to 12? 4 times what is 12? 4 times 3 is 12. Whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. 3 times 3 will give me 9. So now I rewrote these fractions with the common denominator of 12 because I can divide my whole into twelfths to compare these fractions. But I'm not done yet. So now I have 2/3 divided by 3/4. What I'm going to do is use this 8 from the 2/3, and that will become my numerator, over my 9 from the 9/12, that will become my denominator. So my answer here of 2/3 divided by 3/4 is 8/9. Let's try this try it problem using this same model. So in your notebook, I want you to find 1/4. I want you to write 1/4 and 3/8. So if we multiply these two denominators, what will our common denominator be? So I multiply 4 times 8. And what do you get? Well, 4 times 8 is 32. Now, notice that that's a common denominator. It is not the least common denominator. They want us to multiply these denominators as they are. Don't worry about if it's the least common denominator or not. So now we have to write equivalent fractions. So 4 times what is 32? 4 times 8 is 32. So whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. 1 times 8 is 8. So 1/4 is equal to 8 over 32. Let's find the equivalent fraction for 3/8. 3/8 equals how many over 32? Well, 8 times 4 is 32. So 12 times 4 is, 3 times 4 is 12. So now we use the 8 and the 12 to write our new fraction. It's 8 over 12. So 1/4 divided by 3/8 is 8/12, but we have to simplify that. So what number can both 8 and 12 be divided by? 8 and 12 can both be divided by 4. So 8 divided by 4 is 2. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Our answer is 2/3.